quorum, so
Okay.
we will, you can start the recording, Mary?
All set, ready to go.
Okay, good evening. Planning Board, December 9th, 2020. I will take a roll call of the members present and call the meeting to order at 6:32. Roger Hoyt present, Richard Wright,
Present.
Larry Boudreau,
Present.
Walt Meisner.
Present.
Present. Okay, Lindsay will be joining us at a later point, and so we'll skip. So if I could have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Roger Hoyt, yes. Walt Meisner,
Yes.
Richard Wright,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved as presented. While we have Mary here to start the meeting, we need a secondary contact for, Mary can explain it. I'm the primary, we need the secondary. So Mary, do you just want to give a brief?
Yeah, the fire department, the chief plant is working on an emergency contact list to provide to FEMA, something that we should have. So they're just looking, we have Roger Hoyt now listed, and we just need a person as backup in case there's a disaster in town that we have to contact your group. It is a working document, so it will change as, chairmans change and whatnot, but we're just looking for a volunteer to just put their name down in case there's ever a disaster in town that has to be notified.
I'm okay if you want to use my name.
All right. And Walt, you could just email me your contact information, it would be your best number to reach you at.
Yep,
And
sure will.
I'll just put you
Okay.
down as emergency.
Thank you, Walt.
Thank you, Walt.
Are you sure you, Larry or Richard doesn't want to do it?
I'm good.
The tactical unit's gonna be calling me, so I'm gonna be busy.
I sleep too sound for that.
Well, I turned my phone off, so.
All right, so
Roger, you're going to read the notices.
I will read the notices and do it here. Okay, where did it all go? Well, you know what? I don't think I put it all on here. Anyway,
I'll read it. I'll read them.
I'll read it. Yeah, and I'm just, go
Okay.
ahead.
Order and exact times of agenda items may vary at the board's discretion, with the exception of public hearings, which cannot start prior to the scheduled time. Agenda items are those reasonably anticipated by the chairman 48 hours prior to the meeting. Votes may be taken. Documents submitted for review can be found under the Planning Board tab on the town website. The meeting is being recorded. The recorded minutes will be the official record, but written minutes will be prepared for easier reference to the topics covered and the actions taken. As this is a remote meeting, please keep your microphone on mute unless you have been invited by the chairman to speak. When the floor is open for public comment, please raise your hand using the feature provided in Zoom and wait until you are recognized by the chairman to speak.
Okay, thank you, Walt. On, as far as the COVID legislation, I guess as of November 10th, the governor signed that we're back onto our regular timelines. Anything that was told has to be back in action by December 1st. We've been proceeding all along, so that doesn't affect us in any way. The only thing that's still open is timeframes for recording with the Registry of Deeds because of their restricted hours. But again, we encourage anybody to expeditiously get their recordings in so that things don't expire. And within, see where we are. We have several hearings tonight. The first one be a common driveway for High Street. We need Skip, who will join us shortly, so that we have quorum for that. So just make sure we can continue with the scenic road for Wilker Road. Jamie, you're here. Would you like to share your screen?
Absolutely.
Do I need to give you permission to do that at this point?
I think you do. Yep.
Okay.
Because it's disabled.
Okay, let's.
Hi, Gina.
Let's see.
I think he already has it.
I have it now. Yep.
Okay, there we go.
Excellent. So everybody can see the screen. This is a continuation of lots 1 and 2 scenic road permit. At the last meeting, we discussed moving the driveway on lot number 2 to the right side of lot number 2. And we talked about lot number 1 remaining the same. And the board asked that I submit a revised plan for lot 2 at that point, and this is where we are today. So I can go over lots 1 and 2 to remind everybody exactly what's going on. That's the wish of the board. We'll start with lot number 1. Curb cut off of Wilker Road for lot number 1 hasn't changed in between the 2 trees. We basically told the board at the time and during the site walk that we would remove the stones where the curb cut is proposed. We would take these stones and do one of 2 things. Double up the stones on each side of the driveway, or take the stones, remove them, and then fill in this gap over here. Anything left over, we can double up the stone wall on each side. The board basically told me they'd like me to fill it in, but you can confirm that tonight. If you change your mind, that's not a problem. I also told the board that we're happy to plant some trees as well within the right of way or on private property. Again, that's entirely up to the board. Mr. and Mrs. Sisson are happy to do either. Lot number 2. So this is the original plan. The original plan showed a driveway coming up within the easement and then teeing off to the right. We told the board, let me see what I can do here. So we told the board that we would move the driveway from this location to the right side of lot 2. And we picked a spot along Wilker Road that made sense. Here it is right here. The driveway is coming in and it's a gentle 8 to 10% slope all the way up to the house. And again, same comments apply. Remove the stones, and we're happy to reinforce each side of the wall with the existing stones. And we are not proposing to cut any trees for this curb cut or scenic road permit whatsoever. But if the board would like a few trees planted on each side, happy to do that as well. That said, all the board asked me to do at the last meeting was submit a plan to the planning board showing the revised location of the lot 2 driveway, which I did. I submitted it to board this week, and I also submitted an email copy to Marshall Dennis as well, so that he could see that what we were submitting to the board tonight, so he can review it. That said, I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
I have a question, Jamie.
Sure.
So therefore, the whole issue with the common driveway and the breakthrough of the wall for the scenic road permit on that common driveway is not under consideration anymore.
Not at all. Nope, not at all. And
That will be handled at another date when it is determined what is the development plan for the properties that will be off of the common driveway at some time in the future.
Correct. Right now, Walt, and I told this to you and to the board as well, there are no plans.
Okay.
We put this single driveway within the easement, thinking there'll be another lot or two in the future. And we wanted to access the lots in one spot, not three, right? So that's the purpose of why we did what we did.
Mhm.
But we're taking that right off the table. It's confusing too many people and there's too many questions. So taking that right off the table, the common driveway is not on the table for this proposal whatsoever. Single driveway for lot 2 and a single driveway for lot 1, and that's it.
So if I can try to summarize my understanding that all we're considering today, and I asked the chairman this, that all that we're considering today is the scenic road permit that allows them to do the 2 breakthroughs through the wall. There are no trees to be cut down, and that the breakthroughs to the walls, the stone is to be relocated to the openings on both lot 1 and lot 2 to clean them up, and any excess stones will be put on either side of the driveway to bulk up the wall. But other than that, I think that's our jurisdiction, and that's our request. Would you agree, Roger?
That I agree with. Jamie, we're looking at lot 2 now.
Correct.
Do you have a distance and location where the opening will be?
Well, it's shown out on the plan, but I can give you a distance right now from the right front property corner. The center line of the driveway is located 80 feet from the right front property corner. So from this corner to the center line, 80 feet.
Could you just zoom in on that triangular area?
This right here?
Yeah. That's okay. So within that triangle, there's 4 trees shown.
Correct.
Are those still existing trees?
Well, they were when we surveyed it, Raj, but as we know, there was some construction done on Wilka Road that did cut down some trees. We did a site walk over here, and
Yeah.
so I can't remember if those trees are up or not, to be perfectly honest with you at this point.
Yeah.
But we're not concerned with this area right here, Raj, whatsoever.
It's
We're
not
over
on the
here.
table anymore.
There we go. Okay. Now you
Yeah.
got to get back. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
off my screen here.
Yep, yep. So this is the new location, Raj, of the
Okay.
new driveway proposed on the right side of lot 2, and the distance between this corner right here where my cursor is and the center line of the driveway is 80 feet.
Okay.
Yep,
80 feet from the,
right front corner.
yeah, so that would be what, the northern edge, northern corner?
Yep. Yes. North arrow's right here.
Okay, and the width of the opening?
So the driveway right here, we're showing about 12 to 13 feet wide. The driveway itself, the opening is gonna have to be a little wider than that, right? But the driveway itself is 12 to 13 feet wide.
So we're saying approximately 20 feet for an opening?
Yeah, I'd say approximately 25 feet if I were you.
Okay. Of disturbed, and you'll repair the corners and such.
Correct, yep.
All right. And then over on lot 1?
So lot one, same situation on lot number one. Let me see if I can pull that plan out. So I don't have the paper copy with me this evening, Raj, but
Mhm.
I can certainly email the board the distance from that drill hole, the right front corner over, if that's what you wish. But the plans I submitted are to scale, 20 scale to be exact, to the board. So that's easily scaled on the plan.
Yeah, so are we talking the same dimensions for disturbance?
Yep. Yep. Yes, we
Okay.
are. Yep.
So in both to accommodate a 12 to 14-foot driveway?
Correct.
If I may, this is Marshall Dennis, the per scale equation totals about 30 feet.
Thank you. Is that, Marshall, is that to the center line?
No, that's the full width of the driveway,
Okay. Yep.
with the grading and stone wall removal.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, so on lot one, we affected area is about 30 feet. But still no trees.
Well, there are two trees there, Raj. I
But
think
you're
one,
between the-
I think one's a stump,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong. Yep.
But you're between them. We're not cutting anything further.
Correct. But if the trees have to come down or the stumps have to be taken out, again, absolutely willing to plant a couple of trees back.
Yep. Okay,
So I can put into the notes that the applicant is agreeing to fill in the blanks, to plant additional trees in order to improve the tree line along Wilka Road.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
question I have is, do you want the trees planted within the right of way or private property?
Is the stone wall necessarily the follow the property line?
The stone wall is the property line.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. They have a tendency to disturb the stones over time.
Not in our lifetime.
The ones there have,
I would say within a couple feet on the back side of the stone wall.
I would, yeah, right.
Roger, if I may,
Who's that?
it's Skip.
Skip, yes, hello, Skip.
Hi. My recommendation, just for ease of the future, I would plant the trees on the private property.
Mm-hmm.
And the main reason would be is if the town had to do any maintenance or anything out there, it would trigger, if they have to then in the future prune the trees or anything like that, or remove the trees,
Yeah,
it's going to trigger another public hearing. I mean, it's especially if it's within the right of way of the road.
Right.
And I also think it would make it a little bit better that if, like, we have another storm like we just did, where it's a heavy wet snow, we're not having tree limbs impinging on the travel lanes if it's within the private property and back a little bit more from the right of way of the road. You're
Yeah.
less likely to have impediment to traffic in the event of storms. It's just a
And,
personal opinion.
Skip, the only counter argument I would give to that, and I essentially agree with you, but this is a scenic road, and the purpose of the scenic road is a tree-lined road. That's why it's a scenic road. So I wouldn't want the trees planted out of the jurisdiction of a scenic road. I'd want them to improve the whole purpose of us wanting the trees planted, and particularly the ones that were cut down, replaced, is to continue the beauty of the scenic road and continue the spirit of what the scenic road bylaw is about. But I do understand we are in a town where many of our scenic road trees have just been, if I can be candid, butchered by the light plant in order to protect the light lines, and which has hurt the effect of the scenic road. So I think I agree with you, Skip. I'm just sort of putting in the counter argument for the record.
Thank you, Walt. Let me just add that we did receive some correspondence from Marshall, and I believe that was all forwarded to board members.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually received a copy of it via email today as well, Rod, from you.
Yeah,
And I do have it here if you'd like me to put it on the screen.
sure.
Mostly what I'd like to hear is, I mean, obviously, as usual, and this is intended as a compliment as well as, Marshall puts his arguments quite articulately. Mostly what I'd like to hear, Jamie, is your response to his key criticisms.
Well, I mean, there's really no response I can give the board with respect to Marshall's comments. They're all comments to the board for your consideration. But the biggest, really the biggest issue is the wetlands, right? So Marshall put in here a 2005 aerial photo showing a pond, drainage channel, pipe going down to the culvert and then making its way to the other side of the road. I can tell you that this presumed drainage pipe does exist. There's no question about it in my mind. And I do believe this was a man-made drainage channel dug by Rick Sisson. And I do believe this pond was dug by Rick Sisson as well. After I received this email, I gave Rick a call and said, okay, Rick, geez, I walked this property several times throughout this whole area. I saw this. I mean, there's nothing out there, right? It's all fields. But if you go back to 2005, you see a pond, a drainage channel, etc. Rick told me that he purchased the property in sometime in the 1990s. And then he built this pond as a watering hole for his cattle. And then when he got rid of the cattle, he got rid of the watering hole. So it didn't exist. It existed, then it doesn't exist today. So the 2005 aerial photo that Marshall does put in his letter, 100% correct. There's no question about it. But the explanation is it was man-made by a farmer as a watering hole for his cattle. So it doesn't exist today. I actually did the same thing as Marshall. This looks like a 2005 aerial photo from the town of Ashburnham. So Ashburnham's website, very, very well prepared. We'll just move this out of the way. This is the 2019 aerial photo. If you go back to 2005, you can see it. That's exactly, what Marshall shows. You go back to the 1990s, really doesn't exist in that way. Although I think Marshall is 100% correct, there was a pond there that doesn't exist today. And the pond itself was a man-made watering hole for his cattle.
Is it safe for me to assume that the drainage pipe is on that lot 3 and is not part of our consideration today at all?
Let's see here.
And it will be a part of the consideration, though, when the common driveway is actually installed or when the easement is actually used, but that's an issue for another day, another matter, correct?
Yep, so Walt, this is the lot number 2 driveway plan. Driveway's on the right.
Yep.
This is the culvert that was just replaced by the town.
Yep.
And if you,
Was a pipe there, yeah.
yeah, the pipe is right there at that culvert, and it just comes right up here. So it probably is located completely within that easement area. Yep.
But it's not draining the pond anymore because there's no pond.
Correct. So the way Rick Sisson explained it to me is there's a big hill here and the contours. Now, let me see if I can show the contours. Yep. So this is a big slope, all slopes down. And this pond got all the runoff. The overflow was the ditch he dug. And then there's a pipe here that takes the overflow into this culvert. The pipe's gone, but this pipe the pond is gone, but this pipe is still here, collecting all the runoff that comes down the hill and goes right into this culvert and then right across the street.
Right, so what's under the street now takes care of anything that collects into that swale, road runoff, whatever.
Yep, basically there's country drainage within Wilka Road. There's, as you saw out there, there's swales on the edge of pavement. From the edge of, in between the edge of pavement and the stone walls, that's collecting the water right into the culvert. And the water is collected in this area and bypasses the field completely because of the drainage swale into the pipe, and then it exits out. Yep. Keep the field nice and dry so you can mow it, hay it. That's all. Yep.
But again, wherever the driveway openings are located, we have a swale to
Yeah. We'll have
maintain.
we'll probably have a pipe, a culvert underneath the driveway, right?
He's in the drawing. He had it on the drawing, a 12-inch
Yeah.
pipe.
But that's future when a driveway permit is requested,
Yep.
correct? Yeah, so we're, at this point, we're just dealing with openings in stone walls and, as far as, is it, lot 1, the northernmost,
Yep.
the location of your opening, at least in my opinion, having it on the northern, near the northern border, I'd say improves the view or maintains the scenic view by having less obstructions in the open field. It kind of hides the driveway a bit more. Whereas at lot 2, it doesn't make so much a difference because it's kind of out in the open. But in either case, we've got essentially the same scope of work of modifying the wall, using the stones to fill in previous openings, and doesn't involve cutting down any trees. To be a case of planting some new trees.
So I guess my only question, Raj, as Walt discussed and others did as well, the trees that we will plant, again, doesn't matter to us if it's in private property or public property, just let us know what you want, put that in your permit, and we're happy to.
Just as a recommend, or ask for your recommendation as far as how, if trees were on the street side of the wall, would they be impacted by any subsequent work for driveways?
Yeah, so not for driveways, but my recommendation would be to plant it on the private property side of the stone wall.
I
Just
agree.
off the stone wall, about 5 feet, that's about it.
Yeah, so they're not in the swale.
Yep.
And I would just simply say, as long as it's in the spirit of the trying to improve the Wilker
Yeah.
Road, improve
Yep.
the scenic road.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's done so, and it's still within the jurisdiction of the scenic road bylaw.
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
You can also require an as-built of the driveways where it meets Wilker Road as part of your permit, and I'm happy to provide that as-built to you so that you can see exactly where the trees are on private or public, and you'll see
Yeah.
the culvert pipe underneath the driveway as well. That's entirely up to you.
and that would be is, whenever this work is done for the walls? Is that-
After the work is completed, yes.
So before we vote to close the hearing and take action on this, do we want to ask if there's others in the public who have additional comments to add?
Okay.
Roger?
Mary, are you still with us? No? Just want to check the waiting room then.
Roger, I'd like to make a comment. Christina Sargent,
Okay,
Chairman of the Historical Commission. I just want to agree with Walt on the intent of the Scenic Road Act was to somewhat maintain and preserve the appearance of these very historic roads. And I guess it would be up to your discretion to ask whether the trees should be 5 feet behind the wall or on the roadside, but the intent originally was to require approval if trees were going to be cut along the main road. So Wilker Road is a historic or scenic road, and my only concern is if they're on private property on the other side, that property owner could decide to cut those trees down, and what jurisdiction do you have over those trees at that point?
Actually, Christina, I think you're bringing up a part of the scenic road bylaw has a little bit of ambiguity there and unclarity, because we've had this on a couple of other scenic road things where the scenic roads actually are on the property of the individuals.
Mhm.
And they still fall under the jurisdiction of the scenic road bylaw, as far as I know. So
any
whether they're
limbs,
actually on the property or in the, on the other side of the wall, I don't think that matters. But
Okay,
if they are trees that do shade and add beauty to the scenic road,
right.
then they qualify. But that is one thing that when we do have the bylaw review committee, I
Mhm.
think that's one of the issues they need to clarify and specify more
Oh, I
clearly.
agree, because I think the intent going back, and this is probably 30 years or more on the books in Ashburnham with the Scenic Road Act, adding it to our bylaws, was to preserve the appearance of roads. So the idea was not to, if a lot was going to be developed, the builder, it's easier to just come in and clear cut everything and just wipe everything out. But the whole idea was maintain the appearance along the road so that people didn't have this jarring, like, oh my gosh, this is terrible, they've clear cut this. So that's good to know that it does still have jurisdiction, you have jurisdiction over it regardless. Mhm.
yeah, I can go back to the, you can
Dave,
continue.
correct me if I'm wrong, you're not even cutting any trees down, right?
No,
You're
he's
You're
not.
removing a
Oh,
stump of one on lot one.
Yep. So on lot number 2, we're not cutting any trees down whatsoever.
In lot one, there was just already a tree cut. There's a stump. That
Exactly.
second one is a big stump
Yep.
that
Yep.
would need to be removed anyway. So you're not removing any full-grown trees.
Nope, they're just planting trees.
But again, happy to plant them. So again, the real question is public property, private property, but if it sounds like that the scenic road bylaw will cover the trees if they're planted on private property,
I
it
don't,
doesn't. Well, I see Marshall saying no, so
I doubt it very much.
I
I mean-
actually disagree with you, Marshall, but I do think there's ambiguity there and needs to be clarified.
Well,
Because we did have another scenic road thing where it's clearly on their property, but from the road onto the property, there's, a town has an easement and that's where the trees are in.
yeah, you tell me where the easement is,
Yeah.
because
Well, and also,
there are no monuments or anything that indicate where the right of way is or isn't.
No, you're right.
It's basically by a stone wall. So if you planted the trees behind the stone wall, it's private property and I can damn well do what I want with it. But
Well, let's
the
go
fact
down.
of the matter is you plant them within the right of way or perceived right of way, they're going to be subject to the Department of Public Works. And we all know what's going to happen then.
Well, we all know that the Department of Public Works, despite what's happened in the past, my read of the scenic bylaw, both at the state and at what was essentially duplicated in ours, is they are supposed to come and ask for a scenic road permit as well. And they have not been doing that. And that is an enforcement issue that the town has to do, but it has nothing to do with this issue on our table now. So we probably shouldn't get into that discussion.
No,
And I
granted,
think you're right. I think you're right. We need to get away from this because he's not really suggesting taking any trees down whatsoever.
He's trying to add
He's
trees.
just trying to add trees.
Exactly.
He's trying to add trees, which has nothing to do with his permit. He's
it's
just
just
giving us something for nothing.
it's just a question of what your jurisdiction is once the trees are placed on private property. Do you have the control to ensure that the property owner doesn't cut them?
I think what we can do for this issue here, Jamie, if you're okay with it, is we'll just put that into the permit when we give it to you and make clear where the trees need to be in order to be still still impacting positively the scenic road.
Yep,
I'm gonna
and
look
that's
up
fine.
one thing and I think it's in there as far as it affects the limbs that are out in the public way, but if you hold on, I will better check our town bylaw here.
Well, at this point in the juncture, I don't think Jamie needs that stipulation, correct?
No, we can put that as a condition that we will subsequently determine the location of the trees.
Yes, where the trees are. That's what would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
I don't believe-
At this point then,
Any other comments from the public?
If I
Close
may,
testimony.
I'm sorry, Roger, Marshall Dennis again.
Yep.
Again, what I have to say at this point and what I've said to a certain degree in the past is not germane to your consideration of the scenic road application. However, information has been presented and I've that either the access roadways, being the driveways and or the houses and or septic systems as laid out on the plans submitted to you indicate the likely existing or past presence of wetlands. And it's clear in looking at both plans under general notes number 8 in each for lots 1 and 2 that wetlands were encountered, quote unquote, on both lots, and therefore, again, not germane to your, but I'm just advising the applicant's consultants that they need to investigate the presence of wetlands on these properties, at least with respect to lot 1. I mean, the former pond that Jamie refers to, and which I've indicated in my graphics, occurred right behind the house. So, whether that was jurisdictional or not, because it was a farm pond, I will investigate that. But the fact of the matter is that you can't create things and then just destroy them and fill them in later. there's a stream that you see up in this, that originates on their property, goes down into lot 2, and then is piped. That is not something that is man-made, and it's been there for years. So again, all I can do is encourage the applicant. Otherwise, if we do not hear, and if the commission does not hear anything from the applicant as he begins to construct either driveway and or the house, we will ask his permission to access the property to investigate the presence, absence of wetlands. And if denied, we'll seek an administrative order to, warrant to go on the property. So that's all I have to say.
Marshall, all I can say is I'll make sure the notes say that you, as you're in your attendance, you so advised the applicant.
That's all I ask.
Yeah.
That's all. That's it.
I'll make sure it's in the minutes and it's in the record.
Yeah. All right. At this point, we
I
can,
can move that we close the hearing.
yes, we'll close the hearing at 7:13,
Do we have to vote?
and I'll make a motion that we vote on the application
I
as
think we have to
presented.
close- I think we have to take 2 votes. We have to move to close the hearing.
Okay, well, first we'll move,
And then
I'll make a motion that we close the hearing.
So moved.
Second, by Walt.
Larry, second.
Okay. And now we will take a vote, motion to vote on the application as presented with the revised documents presented at the meeting tonight.
I'll vote to approve it.
Well,
I vote
okay,
to approve it.
second the motion, Larry?
Yep, he did.
Okay, and I'll, the roll call vote, Larry Boudreau,
Yes, approval.
Richard Wright,
Approved.
Walt Meisner,
Yes.
and Roger Hoyt, yes, with the conditions that we will determine the location of the trees to be planted.
Okay.
Um,
And
with the dimensions that we discussed of,
so now we have to move and approve. I'll make the motion that we approve the application as presented with the conditions discussed.
Second.
the roll call vote, Richard Wright,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau,
Yes.
Walt Meisner,
Yes.
Roger Hoyt, yes. Thank you.
All right, everybody, thank you so much.
Thank you for your.
Jamie, do you want to, we'll go to the High Street. You want to
Yeah,
hang
so
on?
I'll be happy to hang on, but Attorney Gina Wilson is representing Rick Sisson with this application. And
Okay.
Anthony Cleves from Whitman and Bingham, who permitted the project twice before, I believe, is online as well to answer
Okay.
any questions you have, so.
All right.
So if we're going onto the common driveway, High Street, I'm Walt Meisner, and I need to recuse myself because from the discussion and the deliberation on this matters because I am in a butter.
Okay. Let's see.
I forgot about that.
Sure, we got the right one here. Okay. So we have an application before the board here for common driveway special permit. We'll open the hearing at 7:16. Present are Roger Hoyt, Larry Boudreau, Richard Wright, myself, and Skip Nolan. Skip, you still with us?
Yeah, I am. Roger, just for the record, it's William Nolan, but everyone knows me by Skip. Whereas,
Yes, William
yeah.
Nolan, yes. Thank you, William. I'll read the notice. The Ashburnham Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 9th, 2020 at 6:35 PM. Again, we can't start earlier, but we can start later. As a Zoom meeting is prescribed in the Zoning Act, Chapter 40A of the Mass General Laws on the application of Margaret Sisson for a special permit from Section 514 of the Ashburnham zoning bylaw for common driveway on property located at 16 and 20 High Street, map 21, parcel 119A, lot 1C and 1B in the Village Center Residential Zoning District. Copy of application and plan may be requested at Heather H. Ruziak at ashburnham-ma.gov or calling 978-827-4100, extension 117. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the application should link to Zoom by going to mytowngov.org, Ashburnham Planning Board, and find the link. Roger Hoyt, Chairman, Ashburnham Planning Board. So who is present for the applicant? State your name.
Yes, good evening, Attorney Gina Wilson for the applicant, Margaret Sisson.
Okay. Did you get that, Walt?
No, Wilson. Yep.
Okay. Just this is the previously approved twice, but due to not being recorded with the Registry of Deeds in the time frame, we've been doing it a second and now a third time.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And the documents are the same as previously presented. Is that correct?
They are essentially, the documents before you tonight are essentially the same. I have gone through the September 11th, 2019 special permit order that you issued and is recorded to bring a proposed driveway, common driveway easement document into compliance with that order. I've sent that over to Attorney Phillips for a preliminary review. She's going to take a look at it this Friday, and then based on this board's decision tonight and the written order that will follow, any subsequent changes will be made. It's my understanding after a review of the title work that is on record and a review of the previous permit issued by this board, that the only thing left for recording will be the new special permit that may issue tonight and the approved easement agreement, which will require Attorney Phillips' review, and those will be done immediately upon their completion.
Yes, thank you. I will ask the board if there's any questions or comments. Board members?
None?
None.
None, okay. I have none either. Again, the documents are the same, the rules are the same. I will make a motion that we approve the common driveway application subject to consent of review and consent of town council of the easement agreements.
Second?
If I may,
Roger, it's Skip, hold on.
Yeah.
We gotta follow the procedures.
Oh,
on
yeah,
here.
I gotta close the hearing, right?
No, not even that. I mean, did we get any, comments back from other boards or committees?
Marshall Dennis,
Yeah.
the proverbial bad penny here.
Oh, Marshall, that's fine.
Oh, come on. The commission did issue an order of conditions for the development of lots 1C and 1B. And we did so in July of 2011.
Yeah.
Is that permit still valid? Have you requested extensions over the past 9 years?
If I can speak, Mr. Chairman, this is Anthony Cleves from Whitman and Bingham.
Okay.
In 2019, we went before the Conservation Commission with a new notice of intent because the 2011 one did expire, and the commission issued a notice of an order of conditions issuance date of June 27th of 2019, and that is recorded at the Registry of Deeds, book 9448, page 198. And so that order is valid for 3 years. So that'll be good until June of 2022.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marshall.
I guess my other question, Roger, would be is, do we have any abutters that are here? Because do any of the abutters have any concerns or comments?
Hold on a second. Let me just check the, if there's anyone in the waiting room. 'Cause
My name is Glenn Lang and I am an abutter.
Okay. You have that, Walt?
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Lang, would you have a comment? Would you like to speak?
Yes, I do have a couple of questions about it. As an abutter, first of all, you guys had the wrong mailing list. So it was quite the challenge to get the information regarding this, even though I've lived here for just under 3 years. So a couple of questions I have. The common driveway that they have planned, do they plan on extending it in the future over to what is the proposed property line, which would be now Lot 1A? Question number 2 would be for the forest main line running down the side of the road. It's a very steep incline on a lot of it. And how much damage will it do and how many trees are going to be removed? And my third concern would be about the pitch of the driveway. It says that the pitch is going to be to the westward side, which is going to bring it down to what they call the existing swale. And that's going to drain right onto the side of my property and onto my property. So I'd like to just make sure that there's not going to be any detrimental effects to my property. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay. I suppose, Anthony, you have a response to that?
Sure, if I can remember all the questions here. So in regards to the extension of the roadway or the common driveway, during the original permitting process, we had originally proposed 3 lots, 1A, 1B, and 1C. And through those proceedings, it was determined that the town and abutters weren't really amenable to 3 lots there. So 1A went away. And the A&R plan that ultimately was drawn and is recorded, 1B and 1A combined, and 1A went away. So the A&R plan that is currently recorded is just 1B, which is a larger lot, combining 1B and 1A, and 1C stayed as is. And again, that A&R plan is recorded at the registry, Plan Book 500, Plan 19. So that was that question. The forest main, yes, that's accurate. We're putting that off of the roadway onto private property. Is a steep slope there, so can be done. There's going to be any vegetation, trees within that work area, yes, would be cut down to install that utility. That is accurate for that. And in regards to the stormwater, again, yes, that's the abutters' statements are accurate. That the driveway intent is to cross pitch westerly to that existing swale. The remaining parts of the project, the houses, the lawns, all of those are going to continue to follow the land as it does now. The intent really of that, and I think it was through the permitting process as well, is to not change the drainage patterns or characteristics of the lot. So where the driveway is proposed now, that land is sloped towards that swale. So we're continuing that as well. But the house and the driveway leading up to the houses would not drain to that swale. So it's I think a lot of the intent was to make sure that water still got to that swale, because that was the one jurisdictional part for the Conservation Commission. And we didn't, I don't think they wanted us to take water away from that and then, help and then dry that up. So, but the houses, land around the houses would not be drained to that swale. Those would be continuing as the land does now to the easterly portions and rear of the property, which eventually gets out to the back there.
All right, if I can ask one more question. The drainage down High Street on the easterly side, there are no drains in the street, and it poses a giant problems for us that live on that side of the street. When they do the forced main, would there be a consideration to put a drain connecting to the drain that goes under the street, which is listed as the existing 18-foot CMP drain, to help with that runoff?
No, we hadn't proposed anything. We're doing very little work in the street. Our force main quickly comes off the road from the existing sewer manhole and gets onto our property. Only other instance where we're doing work on the street is for the curb cut to cut in the driveway into the existing berm that is there now. So we weren't planning on putting in any infrastructure into the town road. A catch basin in that location would be difficult, even if the town were to try to put that in. I believe that's where the existing water main is. So to put a catch basin on the curb line would be difficult for the DPW to do, as they would have to more than likely move the water main or put the catch basin further into the road, and it really wouldn't do anything in that location.
Okay, well, I would just like the town to consider that in your final judgment. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I'd like to, as an abutter, just add to my fellow abutters' concerns about that drainage and that situation. I know Whitman and Bingham is very familiar because they have done work for me on trying to deal with this, because all the drainage, the way it's currently structured, ends up on my property anyway. That's the way it gets through to the appropriate streams. So in terms, have any calculations been done in terms of the amount of volume of water this project might generate towards?
No, we hadn't done any specific drainage calculations for this development here. We did some to size the driveway culvert to make sure that the culvert underneath the driveway was going to be adequate, such that it wouldn't back up water onto the abutting property to the north. But no additional calculations were done for these, as typically it's not a requirement for.
It's just the amount of hard surfaces is what creates the additional
Correct.
water going in that direction. Now,
Yep.
That may help the wetlands, but it creates a bigger problem for me.
So Walter, I will agree with you, because with the water running down on the east side, when it gets heavy enough, it pours directly down into my garage. And I think there's a movie that you can refer to, A River Runs Through, is what it turns out to sometimes when we have heavy precipitation.
Yeah, frankly, this issue is probably more one that we have with the town than it is we have one with this particular proposal. And that's that we need to, that it, rather than it draining down High Street appropriately or through proper culverts, it sort of shoots like a fire hose out by your property and towards mine. So.
All right, I agree with you. Thank you very much again.
All right, so if I could understand this, is a swale that goes through the site, through the two properties. And
Correct.
then what's collected in the street then goes into a swale that goes out towards parcel A and on towards Mr. Meisner's property. Is that correct? With the drain
Yeah,
that under High Street brings it into what was Lot 1A and then out that way rather than the swale going under the road to, right? The catch basin that's on, I'd say, the west side of High Street has the 18-inch drain that goes into the swale. Is that,
That is correct.
and then into
So it only collects on the west side of the street. There's nothing that collects anything on the east
Yeah.
side of the street.
Roger, should we get the DPW involved in this? Because this seems to be something that's been ongoing.
Well, they've had notification and opportunity to comment.
Yeah, but their comments aren't helping the people down below. They don't have any comments, so it goes down below, so nobody gets any results.
Well, I mean, I have a co-application with the town with regards to trying to construct with Conservation Commission. Marshall was a great help in preparing a plan that is trying to control the water that's going through my property. And we're in the middle of that plan and the town has co-applicated to do it. There are other things that the town probably should be doing in addition to what they're doing on my property, such as the water catch basins on both the Cushing side and the High Street side. And there is a dam there that's abandoned and that belongs to the town that is non-functioning anymore and has degraded significantly since 1938 when it was blown up. And so there are some issues and town-owned property around here that needs to be addressed. But it's probably not an issue for consideration in this particular matter that you're looking at right now.
Well, let me ask you then, in your work on your site, have you accounted for any additional flow coming from development on this property?
I see Jamie's still on. I think he has.
Oh, yeah.
He's
absolutely.
accounted for quite a bit of flow on this.
Yep, the watershed pre and post construction was calculated, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so you've accounted for what additional may be generated by development here, so we're not undoing something that's already been in the works.
No.
I cannot say that we calculated the post-construction flows for this project into Mr. Meisner's property, but we did calculate the pre-construction watershed flows from this property into Mr. Meisner's property. In the post-construction flows for this project are basically considered negligible, adding additional flows.
So essentially what might have infiltrated is the additional that could be collected. Post-development.
Mhm.
Wouldn't post-development have more flow than pre-development after all the driveway is there and there's less woodlands and stuff to capture the water?
Always.
Roger, it's yeah. Where we have an abutter that's expressing a concern about possible additional water reaching his property, and he already has an existing problem with water reaching his property in heavy rains, I think it might behoove us to request what the possible additional flow post-development would be.
Mm.
I know it's going to push this off a little bit for the applicants. And I mean, unfortunately, this is the third time the applicant's been before us. Unfortunately, if they'd have filed in time, this wouldn't have been an issue.
That is,
So now there's an abutter that does have a valid concern that I see. And I think it would be prudent for the board to request that those calculations be made so that it can put that abutter's, concerns at ease. He can see that, this is what it is pre-construction. This is going to be the X factor post-construction. And what will that negligible amount of additional water be?
right, and you're referring to Mr. Meisner's property.
No, I'm referring to Mr. Lang. I mean, Mr. Lang said that, he already has issues with water and, he had made that statement that
Right.
the water is going to be diverted towards that swale, but that swale abuts his property, and he's concerned that with that water hitting that swale, is it going to increase the amount of water that's reaching his property during heavy water flow?
Just to clarify, I understood it that what was going on to Mr. Lang's property was coming from the street.
There is both the street, but if you look at the swale, you see it goes through my property, which then goes back through the other property.
Yes, and are
It
you,
actually affects us both.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, this is Anthony Cleaves from Whitman and Bingham. Can I share my screen that I can put
Sure.
the plan up that might help some of this discussion?
yes,
See if I can do this properly.
so, just for updating our plan here, so Mr. Lang, the previous owner was Thomas Smith, is that?
No, it was Heather Carlisle, and it was the Smiths before.
Before that, okay, all right.
Can everyone see the plan on their screens?
Yes, I see.
Perfect.
Yes.
So, and please, Mr. Lang and Mr. Myers, correct me if I misspeak here at all, but my understanding is, so we have High Street down on the bottom of the plan here, and you have water that comes down the east side of High Street and also on the west side, and we have a catch basin on the west side, intercepts that storm water, and then you have no catch basin on the east side, and it continues, and then eventually makes it into Mr. Lang's property. So that was one item of storm water. The other one, I believe it was mentioned, is we have an existing swale, and maybe it might be easier if I... Here, that eventually makes it onto Mr. Lang's property as well. And so, as was noted by the abutter, the driveway intentionally is pitched to the west so that it drains
Towards the swale.
that way. But when you look at the grading for the remainder of the lots, this grading is consistent with the current grades of the lots, and this would not go to the swale. So if you're looking at a drainage area, you're probably going to be, that's going to make it to this swale. Maybe something like this. Of the new development of the proposed work. So of the proposed work, it's going to be just this area of the driveway, which is about 8,000 or 9,000 square feet, which is not a large area. that's gonna change from woodlands to impervious. Again, that area already makes it to the swale, so yes, you are gonna have a change, but it's a very, as Jamie had mentioned, it's a very small area compared to the amount of drainage area that is already tributary to this area. So it would be somewhat, we consider insignificant. So again, about 8,000 or 9,000 square feet, doesn't really have a large impact to this drainage area, which is much more substantial. I don't know if that's helpful or not.
Very helpful for me to know. Thank you.
Yes, same here also.
I think that covered. Did I miss any questions or anything? There was a few questions that were thrown out there. I think I answered a lot of them. Is there any other questions on this?
Just how long would it take you to determine the additional flows going out the swale to the southeast onto Mr. Lang's property and then onto the other butter? And to get back.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to prepare a more in-depth stormwater analysis, looking at that and running it through models and whatnot. But I would expect it to be, somewhere in the 1 cubic feet per second to 2 cubic feet per second would be my educated guess at this point, without actually doing numbers for a 100-year storm, which is a pretty small flow. We looked at, again, as I mentioned, we looked at the tributary area to the driveway culvert to make sure that was sized appropriately. And so we did do that, and the tributary area just to that one part of the project was about 2 acres. And that generated about, we had about 7.5 cubic feet per second of runoff for a 100-year storm event. And again, so that was a little over 2 acres. And so we're talking about altering about 0.2 acres of that in relation to that of impervious, and so I think it's going to be somewhat insignificant. And then when you actually look at the larger drainage area, let me see if I can bring that over. So this is so we have 119A and 119H are the 2 lots that we're talking about. 8 High Street is the neighbor. And so when you're looking at drainage area that's kind of tributary to the swale, let's see. You can see as I start to have to keep zooming out, it continues up quite a bit. And I think from my recollection, it may come up all the way up here.
I don't think we're still seeing the plot plan. Are you?
Oh, yep, it should be, oh, I'm sorry, you should be, let me. How's that? Can you see the GIS system?
Yep.
Mhm.
So this is, and this is just the east side of the road. I'm up to about 13.5 acres. And that's just the east side of the road. And then also the west side of the road also comes in. looks like based on the topography that comes down there. So then you have another 23 acres. So you have, over 40 acres of drainage area that comes down to this, part of this one location. And so the 9,000 square feet of woods going to pavement is going to be a pretty small portion of that. Where again, as Jamie had mentioned, you'd probably consider it being negligible. But you can see why you're having some water issues. Is there's a substantial drainage area that gets to these abutting properties, for sure.
So not only does Mr. Lang have a swale going through the back of his property, he's getting runoff from High Street that's overflowing the curb or coming down the road.
Yeah, there's a pipe that goes underneath High Street.
Mm-hmm.
In a rainstorm, like I said, it's like a fire hose.
Yep.
Shooting.
And as you mentioned earlier, Walt, this is more of a town issue than it is Mr. Sisson's issue for these two lots.
The ninth, I agree with. I agree with the analysis that it is somewhat negligible compared with regards to the water issues that we're talking about.
I think the town has a really issue here, and I think it's what we're trying to do here is trying to make it work for the person, and the town has a bigger problem, and we need the town to fix it.
Yeah, it's all about stormwater management, and
Yes, definitely.
This is
it's not the only place in town, but it's one of the bigger spots.
It's one of the stormwater management issues the town is wrestling with, and obviously I've been dealing with this for the last 15 years, and
it's not just you; it follows downhill.
Yeah, it's not just me. It's the issue
all the way to the center.
Yeah.
So seeing the GIS map showing that we've got roughly 40 acres of drainage going down there, at this point, then I would be more inclined to agree that, yeah, that additional 8,000, 9,000 square feet of impervious asphalt that's going to be the common driveway is not going to exacerbate the issue that's already at hand. So I guess I would say at that point, I would not require, ask that the applicant put in that pre and post construction or the post construction analysis of the additional flow.
Whatever resolution to the big problem would accommodate that.
So if I may, I certainly am not trying to stop somebody from developing their property. I feel that people have the right, as long as, it's been looked at, if you all agree that what you're seeing is okay, then I'm okay with that. And then maybe, we can get together, us property owners that have the flow problem, and then approach the town and see what we can do to rectify it.
So, Mr. Lang, just to give you a brief history on this, I mean, the two lots that are there actually do conform to zoning. What the common driveway is just trying to do is to have the one curb cut, have the one driveway that will split to both lots, versus having two independent driveways be put in, which could possibly even disrupt that water flow even more.
Right. Yes, I would agree with your assessment.
So Roger, I think at that point, you had said there was no other input from other towns, boards or commissions?
I did not receive anything other than, response from the council that they're, will be reviewing it and to make it a condition.
Okay. And I guess it would be does anyone else have is there any other butters or public comment?
I don't see anyone else. Let me just zoom out here. Was a chat comment from Mr. Lang and nothing further. No participants. Anyone has indicated to have additional comment? So on that, I would entertain a motion to close discussion.
I'll make that motion you're looking to close discussion or close the hearing?
Close the hearing.
I'll make the motion to close the hearing.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. William Nolan,
Yes.
Richard Wright,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau,
Yes.
Roger Hoyt, yes. I will make a comment that Lindsay Butler joined the meeting during the hearing, but did not participate. So I get a time here. The hearing was closed at 19:54, 7:54. Do I have a motion for a vote?
I'll make the motion that we approve the common driveway permit with adherence to the order of conditions as set forth by conservation for this property. And also pending the approval of the submitted paperwork that went to town council for their approval.
Okay.
With regards to the easement, the common driveway easement.
I'll second that.
Okay, could I make a roll call vote based on the motion as presented? William Nolan,
Yes.
Richard Wright,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau,
Yes.
and Roger Hoyt, yes. The motion carries with the conditions presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
for your
everybody.
time.
Everybody have a great night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Amy and Anthony and those in attendance. We'll just go back to our agenda here.
So I'll rejoin the meeting.
Okay, at 7:56. And Lindsay Butler will participate now.
Roger, is that all you need me for? It's been a long day and
Yes, yes.
all right.
Skip, we now have another scenic road hearing for Packard Hill Road. I believe we have that here. Okay.
Thank you for your time, Skip.
Thanks.
You're
Skip.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right, take care, everyone.
Thank you, Skip.
Skip left the meeting at 17:56. We do have 4 members present. So we have a scenic road hearing, number 20-07 for Packard Hill Road. I will read the members present are Roger Hoyt, Richard Wright,
Yes.
Butler, and Larry Boudreau. So we'll do a roll call.
And Walt.
Yes, so we have a full board. Thank you. Okay, so I'll do, I'll present, Walt Meisner,
Here.
Richard Wright,
Here.
Larry Boudreau,
Right here.
Lindsay Butler,
Here.
Roger Hoyt, present. I'll read the hearing at 7:57. Notice of planning board hearing, scenic road hearing 20-07 for Office of the Ashburnham Planning Board. Public hearing notice in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 40, Section 15C, Mass General Laws. The Planning Board will hold a Zoom public hearing Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. Zoom meeting. To consider the request of Casey Bridge for the construction of a permanent entrance for a driveway and access to Lot 4F, Packet Hill Road, Ashburnham, Massachusetts. Identified on the town assessor's maps as map 22, parcel 4F. Public hearing is required as Packet Hill Road is a designated scenic road. Copy of the application and plan may be requested by contacting Land Use Office, H. Ruziak at ashburnham-ma.gov or calling the office at 978-827-4100. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the application should link into Zoom by going to mytowngovernment.org, Ashburnham/Planning Board, and find the link. Roger Hoyt, Chairman, Ashburnham Planning Board. And the notice was advertised in the Gardner News. At this point, I would invite the applicant or their representative to present. Share their screen if possible. Casey?
Yep. So my wife's probably gonna have to share the picture of the possible tree being cut down. And there are 6 rocks at the base of the tree and 1 stump behind it that's gonna have to be moved.
All right, so,
I can share my screen.
okay.
You might have to give me permission.
Should be all set, right? Has started sharing. Okay.
Okay. So this is the tree in question, and there are 6 rocks at the base of the tree that you can't see in these photos. This is from the road headed toward the lot. This is the tree. The stump is behind it. And we're just looking to widen this part of the driveway to be able to get a vehicle up.
And currently it's about 15 feet wide right now that you can see.
Would need to be widened to approximately 30 feet, correct? Casey?
Yep, sorry. Yes.
It's about 15 feet now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So the material and organics on the left-hand side of the photo is what would have to be graded and removed.
This would be the only tree that would come down?
That is the only tree, yes.
Tree?
Yep.
It looks like the only tree on the scenic road anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's exactly
Rest of them
10
are way
feet
back in the back.
of the road. Yeah. Yep.
So the house itself will be approximately 750 feet off the road, so you won't actually be able to see it. It will just pretty much be this that changes, that's visible from the road.
How far is, I can't tell by this picture, but how close is the tree that you're removing to the next tree along the road? To the left?
To the left of it, I want to say it was about 12 or 15 feet. It's right past on the left-hand side that you can't really see.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm able to share a picture or not from my phone. not sure if I can while Cassie's sharing her screen. Because I do have another picture, which would kind of tell you that, but it's about 15 feet to the left of that or so. But it's actually, I would say maybe even deeper in, probably about 15 feet from the roadway. And that tree pictured currently that would have to be removed is 10 feet from the roadway.
Yeah, yeah. There's an example of a tree that's been, the one that you want to remove, that's been butchered by the power company anyway.
Right past it, you're saying? That other picture, the other tree?
No, the tree that you want to cut down has already been trimmed by the power company.
Oh,
It's
okay.
quite close
Yep.
to the power line.
Yeah, yeah.
So what we're looking at is from the edge of paving to the right of way, it's quite a wide shoulder on this side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So it may look like it's far off the road, but it really is a wide shoulder. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That power pole is not in a great position for you, is it?
I mean, we're going to be pulling power off of that side in anyway, so it does kind of help us that it's already on our side of the street.
Are you going to bring
Right
the power
past it,
underground, or are you going to take it to your house underground, or are you going to take it above ground?
It'll be above ground up to where the clearing is, and then from the clearing we'll trench in.
Okay.
Yep. And I actually talked to Jeff today at the light company, trying to get him the plot plan, so he can get us the information for all that.
Have you given any thought to planting a similar tree along that road, a little further away, or along where you turn into the driveway? Or I can't tell from the picture whether that's even possible, but I'm just asking the general question.
Right. I mean, there is that other tree still there that I know you can't see. That's tough. But we probably could, but again, the other one is of similar size of that one that's circled currently. And it's like just off to the left of the photo taken.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if
In what you submitted, I think they've got at least in the order of the pages, it's the preceding page. At least in what was posted.
No, I have it up on my other screen, so
Yeah.
I sort of
About 5 feet apart.
I guess I'd only say that from my standpoint, I feel this is a perfectly reasonable request. I would just ask the applicant to consider that the whole purpose of the scenic road bylaw is to keep it a scenic road, which I know benefits you as a homeowner on that road. So any opportunity when a tree has to be removed where you can, as you create the entrance of your driveway, and you can dress up the scenic road and even plant a tree that might be rather young at this time, but 15, 20 years from now, it will be the tree that helps replace the older trees that die. That would be a consideration that I would view very favorably, but I would say to my fellow board members, I think their application is reasonable for what they want to do, and we certainly want to encourage development like this on Packard Road.
I agree with that, Walt. Yeah. It depends on the final arrangement of things, if there's a suitable place to plant another tree.
Yeah, I mean, I would trust the applicants to want to do that because it'd just simply improve their home anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
I think it's quite reasonable to look for a spot to put another tree, a younger tree that can grow. That's maybe not quite as close to the power line either.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it seems like the power line, it runs along right in front of that tree about maybe 10 feet. So it needs to be set back like that tree is.
But you still have sufficient space in that shoulder to keep it on the right of way and not within your property.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
And away from the power lines to, the other board members have comments? We have,
Unless there's something else from the public.
yeah, let me just take a moment to check the waiting room. I don't see anybody in the chat. There doesn't seem to be anything. All right.
Want a motion to close the hearing?
Yes, I'd like a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay. We'll do a roll call vote. Walt Meisner,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau,
Yes.
Lindsay Butler,
Yes.
Richard Wright,
Yes.
Roger Hoyt, yes.
I make a motion to approve the application for the application.
Will we just get a time to close it?
8:08.
Okay, thank you. I'm just always nervous about opening and closing screens and disconnecting the videos recording.
I would
Okay, so
have
we
a motion to approve this application.
to approve,
I'll second that.
okay, do a roll call vote. Roger Hoyt, yes. Walt Meisner,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau,
Yes.
Richard Wright,
Yes.
Lindsay Butler.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the motion carries
Thank
unanimously.
you all very much.
Thank you. So just give me probably till Monday to get the decision written up into Heather.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right. so
Thank you.
Heather will email it to you. You check off the boxes and then email it back to her.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
All righty.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So who do we have in attendance here? Let me check. We still have someone. We have Lorraine, Claire, Bridges, Lindsay, Walt, Richard, and a number from New Hampshire.
Yeah, Roger, this is Ed McSwaney.
Hello, Ed.
And I'm hoping Heather was able to submit, I'm looking to talk to the board about as part of an A&R, we have a property change. So we're not asking for a new lot or anything.
Hey, Ed, hold on, Ed. Ed, before I can do that with you, because we have another A&R that was previously submitted.
That's fine. I realize that.
We'll do that, and then once we'll get to you, actually, you'll need a vote of the board to add that to the agenda.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay? We have an A&R for Hosley Road.
I think we have to ask, the next agenda item, I think, is open discussion, public comment.
Okay.
Is there any?
So I was checking to see who we had, because don't see anybody. Let's make sure on the chat. No one's raised their hand. All right. Okay, back to the agenda here. So open discussion with anything? I see no one. So we go to the A&Rs. We have Hosley Road. See if I can find it on here. We'll say that this one was on our agenda for the last meeting. I think fatigue set in and we just missed it on the agenda. So we're going to do it today. Fortunately, it was not time sensitive for the applicant. was here. All right, here we go. I think this follows up one that we had done a few months ago, where it was noted that it was future to be combined with another lot. Do we have anyone from the applicant or Mr. Zock's office? Okay.
My big question with this one is the parcel number right? 17A, isn't it 7A? I went on the assessor's maps and I could not find it, but I did, this seems to correspond with 7A, not 17A. So if that's right, then sort of a key thing in the application is incorrect. But I could be wrong. I just couldn't find parcel 17A. I could find 7A. That looks like this is the one they're talking about.
Map 17, lot 7A is what's noted on the plan here.
Parcel. Yeah, it's map 17. I'm looking at the application that you sent out to us.
Okay.
Which is
Let's
the
see.
application sent out to us that was downloaded from the thing. Says
Yeah.
17, parcel 17A.
That's, I believe, could be Heather's writing, just as a note. Let's just check further on the application. See if it's a typographical error. Actually, it's on the application. This is map parcel 17, parcel 17A.
What was the legal notice?
Yeah.
Good question, Lindsay.
Well, it wouldn't be because it's just an A&R. So it's not.
Oh, okay, that's right. Well, so then I guess in that case, what does the plan say?
The plan says lot 7A.
So I would go with the plan, and if it's something that I would fix the application if it doesn't need a legal notice.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just a I believe it's a typographical error. The drawing seems to be correct. You could go on to the map and just check it while we're here. So it does say 7A.
Good, okay.
There's the right of way. Here, that's railroad. So we're going along. Am I sharing my screen?
No.
No. Okay. Back to Zoom meeting. Okay, so 7A lot 6 at the top of the drawing, and it's this parcel going along here, 84 feet wide from lot A on the left here, which it's over here with the house on it. So it's a strip of land going across here. Yeah, as noted on the drawing, Outlot A shown here and is not to be considered as a separate building lot and combined with land owned by Jason Walker to form a single undivided lot. So we'll go back to I think last time I figured out how to rotate this. So
Where's the road frontage?
it's combined with the lot that's on the left-hand side of the map.
In Gardner?
It's gotta be Gardner.
Well,
there's a road like runs through
I guess
Gardner.
the only question here is, I don't know what they're asking for.
What they're asking to do is, if I can get the screen to show here. Okay, this is the existing lot here with a house on it that's in Ashburnham because the town line is over here.
I can't see what you're pointing to.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Well, I got to get this.
All I see is the assessor's map.
Okay. Share, let me just reshare again then. Give it a second. Are we now seeing the map?
Yep.
Okay. All right. The main parcel is here with a house on it. The town line is here. Ashburnham, Gardner. So this parcel is in Ashburnham. He wants to combine this long strip, which goes up to the railroad property. 84 feet wide. The I guess we consider the northern part of the property. Now, block here to there now. There we go. We're still seeing there we go. All right, so here's the property being combined with this long strip here up to the railroad. So frontage and stuff would be already existing on the lot. So we're not creating any new lots. We're taking property from this lot and combining it with this lot. Does that explain things for people, or do we need to get further clarification?
I may be the dunce here, but I don't quite understand what they're doing, just to be honest. And I just, as a point of information and what's normal, is it normal for A&Rs to come before the board and they don't have the applicant or anybody represented to presenting it so that we can ask questions and understand it better?
It's not required.
It's not required?
Required, no.
Well, I'm going to say, I think the application is extremely poorly put together. You can't understand what the hell they're asking for. And it's somewhat disrespectful of the board to put something in front of us like this and then not even have somebody here to explain it to us. So maybe it's been a long day and I'm having a bad.
Walt, I agree with you because I don't understand it either.
Yeah. So we're sitting here trying to say it's okay in A&R and we don't even know what we're looking at.
We're flipping page after page after page to try to figure out where we are.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It looked like he's trying to put a road in or something that he owns.
Well,
It's only going to the railroad property.
It makes no sense to me.
well, if he's running off a railroad, it's not a road, so it's not an A&R.
Well, all
He's just trying to add that piece, yeah, but it's odd. You'd like to ask why, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
We're a planning board. What's the intent? Even if so we can understand it, so we can agree that it's an A&R. That's all he wants. He wants an agreement that it's an A&R.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he wants to get to that railroad bed for trails or something. I don't
know. But we have no idea.
And does he own that? Does he own it? If it's a railroad bed, does he own it?
well, it doesn't. It's just he's taking a portion of the property that's
He owns already.
that he owned. Correct. Well, I believe that he owned the house that Mr. Walker now owns, the property.
I think he's trying to, it looks just like he's trying to create some sort of easement so that lot can get to that railroad bed, which I'm guessing it goes to, trails or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, because I'm not the.
It just says on the, you can read on the drawing here, I'll read what it says here. This large portion remaining of lot 7A, it says, this land does not create a non-conforming lot. It is to be annexed with other land owned by them on Gardner Road with about 561 feet of frontage, 55 acres. That's the remaining land. It's just this outlot A that's being taken and combined with house number 165, lot 9.
I think it's not out of the question to ask somebody to be here at one of the meetings to clarify what they're actually trying to accomplish.
It looks like he's pieceworking the subdivision.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah. I think I would make a motion to say we don't have enough information to make a decision, that we do not support this as an A&R, and ask them to come to the next meeting, improve their application, or come or bring somebody to the next meeting to explain it so that we can ask them questions.
I'll second that.
I was gonna say, are we? We're taking land from an existing lot that retains frontage. We're not affecting the frontage from existing lot 7A. We're adding 2.8 acres to an existing lot. The question is it a subdivision? And we're not creating a new lot. We don't have frontage issues. We're increasing the size of a conforming lot, reducing the size of a conforming lot that remains conforming.
And also, is that easement a road?
It's
if it's not a road, we can't subdivide it.
Well, we're not, so we're,
Is that cart path road that from the top of the hill,
I,
gate on it?
I don't know that that's, if you look on the locust plan, and I'll see if I can get to it. It's a small piece here.
Roger, do we have to vote on this tonight? Like statutorily?
Our only determination is whether it's a subdivision or not. If we don't act on it, I've never had one where we didn't resolve it, either with a necessary correction or something.
Can we say, reject and say, we don't have enough information to determine if it's a subdivision?
We could do that.
And we require further information and someone to attend the next meeting so that we so that we can act on it.
Yeah, we could. I mean, I don't see an issue with that. We are back to the old timelines where the constructive approval if we did not act on it. But yes, I believe we can request that. And I don't believe it's time sensitive to the applicant at this point either, that it can't wait till the next meeting for clarification. So,
But didn't we do this once before where we voted to just continue it?
well, that was,
So that it gave us more time statutorily to do that?
we did on the previous one where we had under the COVID legislation, the chairman had the ability to continue.
Well, we're still in COVID, so.
But that legislation has changed where we're back, rescinded or modified that so that we're back to having to act within our timeframes. As of November 10th, I believe that, except for recording the Registry of Deeds, because they're still on reduced hours in access. But the boards and committees for permitting are back to having to act within their timeframes. At least as far as I understood, that everybody had to, anything that had been told had to be acted, begin hearings or whatever by December 1st.
Well, Roger, I don't understand the plan at all.
We don't understand.
Vote on this.
If we can't make a decision, then we will request that the applicant come back next time with an explanation.
There you go.
That's, if we want to take a vote, we can do that. So I will make a motion that we vote on that we need further explanation from the applicant to make the determination.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call votes. Lindsay Butler,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau,
Yes.
Walt Meisner,
Yes.
Richard Wright,
Yes.
Roger Hoyt, yes. Okay. We have another A&R matter. I'll ask the board.
I guess I would add, my first question would be to Ed, and how time sensitive is this? Does this really need to be squeezed into this meeting?
Hello?
We don't meet again until January 13th.
Yep, but I'm asking Ed. Can it wait till then?
Yeah, I appreciate the board. We'd known this problem. My dilemma was Zoc Survey is extremely busy, and it took Brian until last week to get the plan ready. And as soon as we got it, we gave it to Heather. We've built 2 homes. Both homes are under agreement, and that's our dilemma. By January 13th, the house that's impacted, the new owners are hoping to be living there. So that's my situation.
Okay.
If I can explain what happened, unfortunately, Roger, I'm not on Zoom. I'm just on phone. So Bray Ave has 9
Hold on, Ed,
nine,
just a second here. Uh,
okay,
our first thing is, can we vote to amend the agenda to add this item? A and Rs are on the agenda. We just did not have this one in the timeframe to get it recorded on the agenda. So,
I'll make that motion to add the item to the agenda.
hey, thank you, Lindsay. I'll second that. And the vote will be Roger Hoyt, yes. Lindsay Butler,
Yes.
Walt Meisner,
Yes.
Richard Wright,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau.
Yes,
Okay, we can add this to the agenda. Thank you, folks. Okay, go ahead, Ed.
okay. So on Bray Ave, for lots 6 and 7, and we still won't have ownership of both lots. To make a long story short, Zoc surveyors had marked the 4 corners of the 2 homes. Bray Ave is a subdivision under the open space residential. So with reduced frontages and lot sizes, we're real tight on side yards, okay? Both these homes, one sits back about 115 feet off the road and the other one's about 145 feet. We had marked the 4 corners of the 2 homes when the construction guys started to put in the foundation. Unfortunately, lot 6 house got moved forward. And we did not realize that until we obviously, once we have the house frame, we have Zoc come back and do an as-built. We need that for our lenders so they can give us construction loans against it. But also, when we sell the house, all the buyers want to make sure there's an as-built. Plus, the building inspector wants an as-built. When the as-built came back on lot 6, if you're looking from the road at the house on the garage side, we found out that the right-hand corner of the garage was only 4.6 feet from the property line. The property line setbacks are 10 feet, and we knew it was tight. So in the revised plan that Brian Zoc has submitted with the Mylar, we've now adjusted the property line to 14.7. So that's the change. We're using the same frontage. Lot 7 has decreased from 41,226 square feet down to 39,733, a reduction of 1,493 square feet. The majority of the property lines, once they pass the house, remain exactly the same. It's just that 50 feet on the property line, and specifically going by that front corner that has been adjusted. So it is now 14.7 and setback to the property line, and that now we meet all rules and regulations and setbacks and so forth that the town requires. So that's the change. Any questions?
Hold on a second, Ed. I'm trying to get your
I
document.
appreciate that, Roger. Thank you.
And the only thing I gotta add is we don't see any drawing.
Yeah, we're trying to get that loaded up here.
Okay.
Well, Ed, I'm looking at your email, but that's one for Main Street. Hold on.
Heather did receive the e-file from Zoc yesterday morning, so hopefully she got it to you.
Yeah. But I gotta.
Okay, I found it. I got it.
Okay, you found?
Yeah, let me
All
put
right.
it over here and,
Do you need me to let you?
nope. I think you're already sharing it. I just have to get back to the screen I was on. So. Okay. So you're talking about which lot, Ed? Can you all see the screen?
On lot 6,
Lot 6,
it
got
says under construction number 12. And if you look at where it says 14 feet, 0.7 inches, that's the change. Because currently that lot line now is at 4 feet, 6 inches.
Ed, is this what, you gave this to us a little while ago? Is it just a typographical error on the plan? Or was it?
No, I didn't give it to you. I forwarded the existing plan that Zoc found out to Heather last Friday.
Yeah.
And then I formally brought in the hard copy first thing Monday morning when she returned to work with the Mylar, and Zoc then early yesterday morning, Tuesday, emailed her the file that I assume you folks just opened up.
Yeah.
So we're just looking at the whole neighborhood, and lot 6 is kind of at the top of the cul-de-sac.
If you're looking at
Correct.
the house,
Correct.
the right side of the house is the 14.7.
I got it right there,
Yep,
14.7.
And that's the change. That's the change. And that's basically, go up towards the other house about 25 feet and go down 25, and that's what Zoc adjusted. And the difference that the two lots swapped in that distance is 1,400 feet. That went from lot 7 to lot 6 to accommodate that 14.7. And that then makes sure that we meet all zoning requirements, and that's why we had to change it. The frontage hasn't changed or anything else.
The frontage is all the same than the same.
You had mentioned this to us previous meeting that this was coming.
I did, and finally, Brian, they're kind of overwhelmed. The real estate market is busy, and the Zocs are very busy, so.
Okay.
They all are.
So 14. yeah,
Correct, they are.
14.7 there, so, okay, so the lot line was just adjusted in order to accommodate to keep everything within the zoning laws.
Correct.
I move approval of this A&R.
I'll second that.
All right, I'll do a roll call vote. Lindsay Butler,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau,
Yes.
Richard Wright,
Yes.
Walt Meisner,
Yes.
Roger Hoyt, yes. All right, so Ed, can you wait till Monday to get the Mylar, or?
Oh, yes, that'll be most appreciative, and thank you ever so much.
And then we'll give you a call when it all gets signed. It's just COVID and.
Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to talk tonight. I do appreciate it very much. Thank
Ed.
you.
We'll catch up with you next time.
Okay.
In January, right? You got some other stuff? All right. I did have, let's go back to our agenda. All right, we're done with the A&R's old business. Subdivision updates, I guess we just did that in conjunction with the A&R from Ed for Bray Avenue. Under new business. And am I sharing my screen with the agenda, folks?
Yep.
Yes?
Nope.
No. Okay. Let's go back to that. There we go. Give it a second. All right. Under new business, under 7A Green Ventures, we've received some applications from them for a property at Young Road, a cultivation facility. I believe they've had their community outreach meeting previously, but that's as far as things go in status with the state application. But we received a application for a site plan review, a scenic road application because it's on Young Road, and the LID application. Members had a chance to look over what we've received. The scenic road application indicates that they're not removing any trees and they're aren't any stone walls. Given that, I don't see that there's a need for a public hearing. There's nothing to determine at this point. I will add that that lot area along Young Road was cleared maybe 10 years ago, whatever, strip cleared. And things have grown back in, but there's nothing of sufficient size yet, but they also are indicating that they're not removing anything. So I'd say once, if the snow clears in next week or so, that members take a look. But I think at this point, I'm going to suggest that we not act on the scenic road permit. We aren't under any time constraints with this whole application. I think what today is, I just want to set the timelines for reviewing the site plan application and the LID bylaw application. So we have someone just drop in. As far as the site plan review, we have the option, if we feel it's necessary, to have peer review. We've done it for other projects. It's kind of a subjective at this point for us, because it's not a major amount of work going on. He's also has been in contact and has gone through process with Conservation Commission, which had resulted in some adjustment in the location of the building and such, but only a matter of maybe 10 feet or so. So it didn't substantially change things. So he's in the process there.
Roger, did he go through zoning?
No.
Okay.
No, this is, he met with us a year ago or whatever, when he initially was contemplating purchasing the property, at least a year. And as far as the zoning, it meets the,
All these applications been shared with us. I'm going like crazy
I
through them.
thought I had, it's also posted on the
Yeah, I did see it. I just,
Okay,
they were.
I don't know
I missed
where
it.
he stands with the marijuana review team.
So that area is zoned for, it's zoned for that already?
Yes, under the bylaw, cultivation facilities are permitted in the RA and RB on, I think, properties of at least 10 acres with a 100-foot setback from all property lines. So it seems to comply with everything, other than, if necessary, a scenic road, and it does require a special permit from the Board of Selectmen for the use.
Okay. I mean, I can't find the materials, but
Have you looked on the agenda on My Town Government?
yep, I am. I'm right on the agenda. And all documents provided, it isn't there.
I saw it somewhere. I think maybe, I don't remember if it was an email or.
Yeah, I just went through my email thing too, and I couldn't find it in either the planning board or my own emails, so filed emails, but I don't know. Larry, Richard, have you seen it?
No.
I thought I just saw it. I just brought it up, but as soon as Roger shared his screen, I lost it.
So what do you have to do, Roger? Just set a time for site plan review, or we're just waiting for them to come back with the site plan review, correct?
That's it. We just we're gonna, I've had Heather send the documents out to other town boards until, I think, January That's probably what you saw, I think was from, let's see, Heather sending it out yesterday. To the other town boards for comment by, I believe, January 11th. I said we'd like the comments back. And it's a matter of if we feel it's necessary to do a peer review and designate who will review the LID application. Sent it out several times here, so.
December 4th and November 30th it came in.
Yep. I did to the planning board one at least.
Oh, I see it now.
Heather sent it to that one, yeah.
I found it, yeah. Yes, sorry, I did just find it, so I have it.
But they weren't on the my town government.
No, it was not on my town government.
Well, it's more just to acknowledge that we received the material to begin setting things in motion for site plan review.
Okay. So there's no action for us right
There's
now.
no action for us other than, do we want to send it out for peer review and make the contact and distribute it to?
Don't they have to meet with us first? Because don't we have to get there?
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah, okay.
so too, that, you know, once we see a plan and have something in front of us, then we
Yeah.
know if it warrants to go out to peer review.
So we put it on the agenda for the next meeting for.
They come before us, we review it with them, they explain it to us.
Yep.
We then put into motion site plan review and all those things.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, yeah, there's no action for us tonight other than
Okay.
that we received it. Go back to.
The LTA, next agenda item,
Hey,
that got postponed.
well, yes, because we were going to have, at least at this meeting, summary of what we did at the earlier work session with MRPC. Karen sent me a note today that MRPC has hired additional staff because of their workload, and that the two projects we were working on have been delegated to the new staff members. So Karen needed a time to get them up to speed and before meeting with us again. So I would suggest if we could meet. Karen is on vacation, as you probably saw in the email, the first week of January. The second week, the 13th, would be our meeting. Do we want to have another time devoted to the DLTA projects in discussion with them that we can give them considerable amount of time? My concern with them was that we still meet our timeline for having the bylaw update on for the town meeting in the spring. She said yes, but I do want to keep them on focus.
It sounds like their schedule is difficult. We could do what we've been done before, where we just meet before this meeting, but that makes for a long evening.
Yes, yes.
And
limits the time.
so I'd be fine based on their schedule and when they can do it, that we just find another time. The only thing I'd like to encourage is, let's put a time limit on it. Or let's tell her we have a time.
Yes. Well,
You
that's
know, like saying, you know, let's keep it to an hour.
yes, yes, and that's why I had given them a 25 minutes for this meeting, just so that we give them some time. But yes, a certain amount of time, that's fine.
and then just recommend that. That would be my recommendation if everybody else
And,
agrees.
January 20th work for board members? In between our meetings?
Is that the day we're regularly meeting or scheduled to meet already?
No, we're not scheduled to meet on the 20th.
Yeah.
We're scheduled, I think, the 13th and the 27th, is it?
Yeah.
Is it a Wednesday?
Yes.
Is that a?
Inauguration Day.
But that, Lindsay has conflicts on Wednesdays.
Yeah, let's.
Well, not, I know, I've had, but I should be okay for now.
All right.
I'd be all right with Wednesday, January 20th, if we can keep it to an hour.
Yes. Any
Yeah.
specific
Mhm.
time?
Agreed.
Is 6 o'clock work for people or 6:30?
Either one for me.
Either one for me.
Lindsay?
Either one.
Whatever.
So 6 o'clock.
The enthusiasm.
All right, I'll make arrangements for 6 o'clock on the 20th.
Good.
Thank you. Town website, planning board forums. I haven't sent anything further to you. So again, if we hear anything for a form that needs to be updated, we'll just send it out. I don't know if anyone watched the meeting the other night, website meeting. They would like some comment from us for what we would like the website to look like, or how it functions for us, our information. So
Do they have a deadline on when they want our comments?
I don't know a specific date. They probably would have liked them already. I don't know if they're ready to do anything with it anyway. But Lindsay,
Yes.
how does Gardner do things, and is that a good model for the?
For the website, they have a great website. Townsend, some of the smaller towns, they use the same platform that Ashburnham has, and it's horrible.
Yeah, I guess it's just because of the.
It's affordable.
It's affordable. Yes, it's an entry level model.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So, and the main thing is having somebody update it. It's okay as long as you have somebody update it.
yeah.
I mean, our site is horrible. You go on there, you go to look for minutes, and they're, 2018, and then you can't find anything recent, and
Right. The recent ones are on my town government.
yeah, and nobody's taken out any of the old stuff. So
Yeah.
I
But
guess
as
just
far as what we would like what information we would like on the website when they do decide on a new platform, and I don't think have any intention of going to online permitting yet. But just something to think about, and for the next meeting we can get information to them. That's why I said I was trying to update our forms, at least that are 15 years old, that are on the website. So just think some board members to think about. Look at other town websites and see how it works for planning. Any other comment, or we just go on to the next item?
Yep.
All right. Board of Selectmen Bylaw Review Committee. I sent out emails about that.
I have subsequently learned that Bill Johnson will be the Board of Selectmen's representative on that, so that Rosemary is not going to be that representative. So if the board would have me, I will volunteer for that position.
I'm good with that.
I'm good.
I'm all set with taking that, so I'm good with anyone who'd like to.
Congratulations, Walt.
Well, let's. Yeah, we. I don't know that.
I'll give you the honest truth. I realize that I'm on this board for 3 more years, and the one thing that we're going to lose when Skip and Roger are no longer with us, we're going to lose a lot of expertise about what's in the bylaws anyway. So the way I work best is to immerse myself in some study of the bylaws, and this committee will give me the ability to do that. And I do feel that there are several places in the bylaws that we've found by some of the things that we've done, or some of the considerations we've had, we've found some conflicting clauses in the bylaws that I think those are the kinds of things I'm not looking so much to see radical changes in the bylaws, other than to see places where we can maybe see how other towns do it and maybe increase some revenue for the town by having more strategic bylaws to do that. But more importantly, trying to just basically make them make more sense and be more user friendly, so that, and then therefore we can get better enforcement. So that's my elevator speech as to why.
Well said, Walt.
Yeah, we'll let you take that and run with it, Walt.
Yes, yes. So, I suppose we can make a motion that I'll make a motion that that Walt Meisner be the designee from the planning board for the bylaw review committee.
I'll second that.
Then the roll call votes. Richard Wright,
Yes.
Lindsay Butler,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau,
Yes,
Roger Hoyt, yes. And Walt,
Yes.
thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all.
Welcome.
I would have considered it, but not at the same time as being chairman. That, as Walter just alluded to, if someone is interested in getting some experience as chairman, I offer that. It's just that hasn't changed. That I would, just as Skip had said previously, that it may be beneficial for whoever is going to take over as chair, get a little transition period. But I'll end it at that. Let's see, as far as the bylaws and the scenic road bylaw, in response to the Board of Selectmen, they would like us, we can, and maybe one or two members get together, just to draft a letter, informational awareness letter that would go to town departments, property owners along scenic roads, just advising them, making them aware of the scenic road requirements.
So this is a request from the TA?
Yes.
So the TA would like the board to, I'm just trying to make sure I understood what you just said. They want us to draft a letter.
A letter that will be mailed.
That would go to all residents on scenic roads.
Yes.
Informing them about the scenic road bylaw.
In other departments and parties that that are affected by the requirements. They're also pursuing obtaining some signs to put on the scenic roads with funds from collected from our permits and applications and such.
I just wonder why they're asking us to do that for them. I mean,
It sounds like something the staff should do.
Yeah, I mean, it's if I worked there every day, if it's a couple paragraphs that you could send out to somebody.
Yeah. It's just I think a awareness letter, not a threats and penalties.
Yeah.
I will work on drafting it, and if one other member would like to assist in reviewing and commenting, then I would ask the board to designate the responsibility to those two members, and trust that they will do something amenable to all members, and that we don't need to again have a debate and approval at the next meeting, unless we unless we feel it's necessary to have all members review it, but if I could volunteer to draft it if one other person would assist me.
I can help you draft it. I don't have to do anything else though, right?
What we're gonna do is just draft it
Okay.
and proofread it, whatever, between us, and if we have the consent of the board to go ahead with that without having to.
I would make a motion to support that.
And I would do that also.
And I would say so because Lindsay has a good sense of these things. She does this sort of thing for a living in Gardner. So I think she would be a good person to edit your
Okay.
draft.
Maybe you've got one already that we can use as a basis.
I can find one somewhere.
Thank you. Thank you. Send it off to me. Thank you. Just for the record, that the board. Do we need to vote on that? I guess because it's a online meeting, so we'll call it to a vote. No?
You don't have to. I mean, you can, but you don't have to.
No. Okay, then we won't.
Unanimously approved.
Exactly.
Yay.
No objection. Right?
No
I
objection.
apologize. I didn't, Walt sent me half of the first portion of the minutes and I didn't have a chance to put them all together.
Okay, that's all right. Did we up to date with October's then?
I think we already did yeah, we're good with October. It's just the
Okay.
past months.
Yeah, it's just November 18th. We will approve it at the next meeting.
Next meeting, all right. Correspondence, I believe I shared that with people. There were what we received from Marshall regarding the scenic roads and the permits. We received some correspondence from Lorraine regarding OSRD past projects and their experiences with how they're implemented and their difficulties. So I think I shared that with you. We can just review it and we can discuss meeting with them at a future date just to discuss past projects and how best to go about the process from their experience.
Since Lorraine is the last person who's endured this entire meeting without saying anything, would she like to explain what it is she sent it to us?
Okay.
Well, not tonight, obviously. You all had much to do tonight. But at some point, I would like a little bit of airtime just to share with you those experiences and make some suggestions about how to do it right, what we did wrong, what failed, and suggest some ways to make it work next time. And I made one error in my little presentation. I included 2 maps twice. You'll figure it out. But that was just something I threw together very quickly just to start introducing you to the dynamics of the deals. And it's been 15 years, so the details are a little fuzzy, some of them. And I'm going to contact the Conservation Commission to see if they have any documentation. I had access to the land trust documents, but I don't, yet have access to the Conservation Commission documents, looking for memorandums of understanding that fell through, anything that was written legally, any kind of promissory notes or whatever the agreements were. They may be lost. I don't know. I think a lot of things have gotten lost in the moves and the transition in time. But I wanted to pull something up to show you what we tried to do. And the results are pretty self-evident. I can show you some maps and pictures, but when we have more time, I would like to flesh that out and answer some questions that you might have.
Would be good. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to try to.
I mean, there's no hurry. You don't have anything pending, any application for it yet. Right?
Pending, just anticipated from our discussion at our last meeting about the project on Main Street. That's anticipated to be submitted in January.
Just quickly, as I was listening to the Bray Ave project, and I know it's not a deal that we made with them, but the land, the conservation land that the Conservation Commission received was supposed to be marked off and delineated with stone posts, granite posts with the town seal on a sign that was affixed to those. There were supposed to be permanent markers to discourage people encroaching upon the open space land. That obviously never happened. And I would just suggest quickly that whatever deal you make with anyone, they have to meet certain terms before they begin building houses. Because it just gets lost in the process. Things don't happen. They go out, they fold, they go bankrupt, and you got nowhere with it.
I think some of the things with these projects is they change ownership so many times and they've gone on so long that all board members have changed. And the consistency, just continuity hasn't.
So whenever you're ready.
Talent changed, you know, it's just anything further, Lorraine? Do you want to just?
No, I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight. We're all tired and I'm. If you look at those, if you have questions, we
Yeah.
happy to answer
Well,
them
thank you.
in advance.
Thank you.
All right. Correspondence, other hearing notices, I've emailed them to you. There were, I think, a couple of things from City of Gardner for December 15th for zoning Board of Appeals and then some decisions. So and other correspondence. We did have a correspondence, just to note, a letter or a handwritten note from Mr. Farrell was given dropped off at Town Hall, addressed to the Town Administrator, the Board of Selectmen, and the Planning Board, requesting him to open his bookstore on a temporary basis for the holiday season. And I just replied, and you've all copied on it, that nothing has come to the Planning Board about that. So we have no action before us on that, other than his maybe 6-8 months ago, at least, before COVID, preliminary discussion of his concept. But so we're not involved. This is only correspondence. Next scheduled meeting, January 13th.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. I would love to have a motion to adjourn.
So
Make a
moved.
motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, we'll do a quick roll call here. Lindsay Butler,
Yes.
Larry Boudreau,
Yes.
Richard Wright,
Yeah.
Walt Meisner,
Yes.
Roger Hoyt, yes. Thank you, folks.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Stay, stay home.
Yep. Great.
Be safe.
Yes.
Take care.
Take care.